Let's see who's sponsoring tonight's Hazmat Guys Roundtable. Hazmat 101 Consultants. Hazmat 101 Consultants and their instructors can provide quality consulting and virtual or in-person hazardous materials training for your agency. Owner and lead instructor Bob Cascignano is also available for lecturing at your fire or hazmat conference and has in fact done many speaking engagements across the country. Visit their site at www.hazmatconsultants.com or email Bob Cascignano at bob@hazmat101consultants.com. For over 20 years, K&R Plaques have had the pleasure of helping clients choose awards for the people they want to honor. Their state-of-the-art equipment allows clients to design, customize, and personalize the awards they choose for that special someone. With one of the largest selections of plaques, awards, trophies, and clothing apparel, they can deliver quality products to satisfy any customer needs. No order is too big or too small. Visit their website at www.knrplaques.com or email at sales@knrplaques.com. Responder Training. RTE is the leading company in delivering propane training along with emergency response equipment. Responder Training has many propane flaring kits, water injection kits, accessories, and replacement parts available. They also sell the only commercially available 1-inch propane flare kit, appropriately named the Dragon Slayer, because size does matter. Contact our good friend, owner instructor Ron Huffman for more information. You can reach him at 765-524-4848. You can email Ron at respondertraining.rdh.gmail.com or peruse his website at respondertraining.com. Northeast Hazmat has your supplies for leaks. Easy vac pumps, stingers, hoses, rupture seals, and now carrying fire blankets and hazmat apparel. If you'd like to sponsor the show and help keep live hazmat conversations coming in the future and help send at least one lucky participant to a national level hazmat conference, send an email to bob@thehazmatguys.com and he'll send you the information.
Hey, Jay-Z is on assignment apparently. That's good stuff.
Oh, he's back. We didn't think you'd be back this quickly.
You are so good at that stuff. Welcome, everybody, to this month's Roundtable. We are in October of 2023, bringing back all four of the Shade Masters. Where am I going? I'm going the wrong way. There we go. We're here with Bob Kosh, Jay-Z, and the illustrious Mike Monaco. How's everybody doing?
Wonderful.
Wait.
Yeah, life sucks.
All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. Wow, there's a lot of people in here tonight. All right, so who has anything to say? Bob, you got something you want to bring up?
Yeah, there's a new thing out there in the ether called Hazmat HQ. It is a free digital magazine, hazmat related for our hazmat responders. That we just put out on all the platforms. You can go to hazmathq.com and click on and check it out.
What is it? What do you got in it? What should we expect?
For me, not much. You know better than that. No, seriously. We were talking about this, myself, Mike Blosky, and Derek Shawman, my other cohorts in crime with that venture, came up with the idea to do a digital hazmat magazine. I don't want to say like fire this or fire that, but something along the lines geared towards hazmat. So there's hazmat related articles, unit designs, and one thing called like a haz chat, almost like a text message back and forth, kind of asking questions, and hopefully we'll give you the right answers. Wink, wink. But yeah, so it's pretty cool. And then the last page we put in there conferences that are coming up starting in 2024 and going through. So we've got conferences lined up in there, and you can click right on the link. It takes you right to the conferences. If there's videos pertaining in the article. Like in this one, there's one about drones. You can click on it; it takes you right to their drone YouTube video. So it's pretty cool. It was a labor of love. Took a little work, but we think it came out pretty good based on the data we're getting back. So pretty excited about it.
Very cool.
Sounds cool. I'll have to check it out.
We got, actually, it's kind of funny. We released, I think, since the last time we had a roundtable, we released the course catalog of our in-person training, and that is actually, I think since we released it, we actually added another page.
Yeah, and we've got a pretty decent amount of people putting their eyes on it.
Yeah, that's true. I will concur on that. Good stuff. So, anywho, tonight's topic. JZ, do you have anything? I'm sorry.
I'm not as ambitious as you guys. I'm not doing anything.
He's traveling. That's why he's busy.
I'm just sitting around doing shit.
So tonight's we were going to bring up the anhydrous ammonia leak, the over-the-road anhydrous ammonia leak that happened
a week ago.
Oh, yeah, but where was it again?
It started with a T. I thought
it was Springfield, Illinois.
It was.
Oh, and then I lied. Listen, I had a 1 in 26 shot. Okay, leave me alone.
Springfield. This was an interesting one because it made the news, and I just saw an article today that killed five people. Oh my god!
Although they don't say were the people killed by the crash or were they killed by the product?
Yeah, this article said it was the product.
The product. Yeah, that's what I read.
I'm going to look at that article while I'm looking.
Yeah.
Bob, do you want to give like the quick run over of what happened, what the skinny on it?
It's still it's kind of still not a lot of information out there with this. I mean, I was looking for aerial video or pictures or something to actually see the tanker.
I would imagine with 5 people dead, then nothing is getting released. That's not like news footage or they're going to keep every bit of information tied up in court.
Right. Now there was a town that was partially evacuated. I think if I read something right, 1,500 people, and then 40 others allegedly had some type of symptoms.
I just posted in the on the YouTube chat. The article was sent to me. It was 5 people, and this is from Associated Press. 5 people died from exposure to a chemical that spilled after a semi truck overturned in central Illinois. Basically, they're saying that like 5 people died from the chemical.
Right. Well, I would assume one would probably be the driver.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's
crazy. So it's spilled more than half of the tanker's 7,500 gallons load of anhydrous ammonia. So from the way that sounds, you had a catastrophic failure of the tank, and half of it is let loose, which would explain 5 people dying, massive vapor cloud, going downwind,
I would say, all right, if half of it came out, it wasn't like somebody took the cup and dumped half of it out and said, okay, we're good. I'm sure it was like it lost half over the event, the timeline of it.
Right.
Right. So like there were people in the proximity in the zone that were over, let's say the IDLH or whatever it might be, during the leak, which I'm sure happened for a while.
Tupulus. I was right. It did start with a T, you fuckers.
And 500 people were evacuated.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and because it was a small town kind of area.
All right. I'll throw that out to the group. Evacuation or shelter in place?
Oof, what are my numbers?
Well, I would say, and again, I'll throw my in. It would be more of a shelter in place than evacuation. Because I don't really give a shit how your numbers are. It is a lighter than air gas that has an extreme volatility. So therefore, it is going to go away pretty quick.
It is going to go away pretty quick. I'm a little surprised. I read something like that. Oh, I just got a freaking ad pop up on my, hold on, decline. All right, there we go. And it said there was a 1 mile radius. And I look at something like that, and my first immediate thought was, they didn't go off of metering, they didn't go off chemical physical properties. What did they evacuate off of?
ERG.
ERG. So, I mean, good for them for, those hopefully it was the operations guys that did that, and not a technician unit that went and evacuated off the ERG. So I think that should be one of the first things that we look at as we turn and say, okay, like, this was clearly not done with meters, not done with chemical physical properties. It was done based upon looking at the ERG and it saying, clear out a mile radius. With that said, how would you do it?
I personally would something like that, and just the pictures that I've seen, I'd defend in place.
What's the difference between defend in place and shelter in place?
That's what I meant. I'm sorry, shelter in place.
Okay, shelter in place.
I'd fire shit pop in my head.
So quite all right.
I would agree with Bob. Although, maybe they didn't have enough people to be able to meter downrange.
It looked like they had a regional hazmat team come in, from what I saw and read.
Yeah, it was a Mavis unit. It was a Mavis unit.
Yeah.
What's a Mavis unit?
It's a rental hazmat company.
Yeah, they have it's basically in Illinois they have divisions, and they have people that made up Mavis Division 5 and 2 and whatever. So they're a gathering of resources from different firehouses.
So like a regional response team kind of.
Yeah. The only reason I know this is Rick Emery. He worked for Mavis, and he does a lot of work with them.
Oh, okay.
So I probably should have contacted him to get a little more information. He might be a little privy to this. But I didn't think about it because I'm lazy. I don't do anything.
Right.
Well, I can say, from a panic point of view, we may look at ammonia and be like, oh yeah, it's lighter than air, it's going to go up. But from some large ammonia spills that I'm familiar with and have been on, very little bit of ammonia can be, let me rephrase that. The odor threshold for ammonia is extraordinarily low. So you could be getting, it might be easier to evacuate than it would be to deal with all the phone calls trying to get people to come and investigate what they think is going to be a lethal amount. I'm just kind of throwing it out there as a resource type of thing. And I don't think they were going down this thought process. I could be wrong, but you may want to. What's up?
That's a really good point, because you're going to be getting calls for, I smell ammonia. Is it fatal? Because when people smell ammonia, this is something that we had a discussion about this in the Firehouse once, and it was like, what's a little bit and what's a lot of bit? Like, what's a little bit of ammonia versus, wow, that's a lot of bit of ammonia? Can you really discern, oh, that's a small little whiff of it, or that's a bowl of it? Like, you can't tell.
You can't tell by smelling it, but you can tell by the punch to the other senses.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, you're going to deal with, a couple of thousand nervous Nellies that say, I smell it, therefore I'm dying.
Right. So why not take the approach of just freaking get them out of the way so I don't have to deal with them? The ERG supports the evacuation, so it's not like I can be questioned or, pulled up onto the carpet for it anyway. Just get them out of the way and we don't have to hear them complain.
The only thing I would question, and I don't know enough of the area to say, yeah, go do that, is there some place for them to evacuate to? It seemed kind of rural in some spots. Is it something they can handle where they just do reverse 911 or TV or Twitter or something? Hey, we have this incident. please don't call 911 unless you have XYZ. You know, I mean, they do that for everything else.
Yeah, does it work?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Yeah, but I thought I was different.
Most of us probably don't know that portion of it because we're not involved in it. We're usually working the incident, and somebody just pulls that trigger and says, "Hey, let's just evacuate a mile." And I mean, we don't use our hazmat team to do that. We use a different resource. I don't know how that works. To me, evacuating a mile down the road, if I were to say that anywhere, at least around here or anywhere where you guys worked, even, that's nearly impossible.
Oh, yeah. Evacuate a mile of Manhattan is 2 million people.
Piece of cake.
Well, you know, the thing too is with that being a rural area, from what I'm seeing on the maps, do they even have the resources to evacuate people and try to mitigate or isolate or deal with the patients that they had? You know, I'm sure they were overwhelmed pretty quickly.
Well, let me ask, being a pain in the ass, does any of that ever stop us from pulling the evacuation trigger?
No, because we don't do it. It's just like you tell somebody to do it.
Right. Like if they don't have a place to go, okay, well then go stand over there, right? That's kind of always been my thought on the evacuation. It's like, well, do we evacuate only if there's a place for them to evacuate to, or do we just say, I don't care if you go to your grandma's, I don't care if you go to like the Winn-Dixie, just get out of here.
Or the bar.
Right, the bar. Go wherever you want. Go to Applebee's.
But you know, looking at that picture, and it's kind of hard to see here, but I think one of the other pictures our great producer is going to show later is that big round red thing there. That's a fan on top of a pickup truck or some type of fire extra apparatus that I'm assuming they were using to disperse whatever.
Wow.
What the F?
Yeah.
Wow.
Who the hell has one of those at their disposal?
Dude, there's a lot of departments that use that to evacuate large space buildings from smoke.
Yeah.
Since I'm here in good old Florida, we use airboats.
I will say...
No, you do not.
I swear to God.
I think I think we might have been in one of the top 5 biggest departments in the United States, and I have never seen something like this come out. New York City doesn't have one of those things.
No. We've got gas.
We used it for our purpose was we would use it to evacuate smoke from a high-rise.
Yeah.
We didn't have that.
How do you back that up to a high-rise?
Well, mainly it's stairwells, but I don't know how. I don't know. That was a thought. I don't know. We never used it for that.
We had so many guys that everybody would go, and it would do the same thing.
Yeah,
that was what our move was.
Does that truck even have an engine, or does the fan just push it along the road?
Yeah, there's departments here in Florida, I know for sure, that have something similar, or part of their strategy is if they need to, they can get an airboat come in and help evacuate the smoke out of a large space structure like a warehouse or something like that.
That's pretty impressive.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
But in this situation, that is chef's kiss. That is the key with something that has a vapor pressure such as this, something that likes to go up. And as Ben said in the group, is that it is lighter than air, except when it's around the water. I don't think there was any water around it, maybe a little crick around it, but at the same time, okay, fine. On a very humid day. Yeah, on a very humid day, though, it'll stick around. It will stick around. Yeah,
I don't know about humidity.
Oh my God! I felt humidity the other day. It was horrible.
What, humidity? You know what that is?
I experienced it last week.
Like what, a hot shower?
106 and 90% humidity.
In where you are?
No, it was in the AUE.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, Kosh deals with those kinds of temperatures.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But 78% during the incident. Yeah, that's going to stick around.
Yep.
It's going to stick around for a while too. That's the bad part about it.
Yeah.
So it definitely could have overwhelmed 5 people, no problem. In my opinion.
In that immediate area, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
Wow. And there was a railway right there. You can see through the picture right there.
Right.
Wow.
You didn't shut that down though.
No.
No.
You don't shut the rail down.
No. Now you've got humidity. You've got humidity. It's keeping it low. What's you guys' thoughts on some unmanned ground monitors on fog pattern hitting the release as it's coming out of the vehicle and just driving the shit right into the ground?
It's only 33% soluble. So it's possible, yeah, but you're not going to get all of it.
Right.
No.
And then you might be left with a giant ammonia base spill that you're got to contend with.
Well, it's going to be a problem in the beginning. It's going to burn everything, but then after that, it's going to be the best farm in the world.
Right. There'll be a ring of perfect crops for 5 years around the barn.
The biggest corn and watermelon you've ever seen.
It was on purpose.
Now, I think we've got some pictures of the plume, if I'm not mistaken.
I would love to know, while you're pulling up the pictures of the plume, and if anybody knows, hey, jump in. But what did those operation level guys do? What did the first people arriving on scene? Because there's hazmat aspect to this, but there's also a lot of what did the rescue look like? What were they wearing? What were they thinking? Did they go in? Could they go in with bunker gear? Bunker gear SCBA, we always tell our operations guys, go in, make the grab. But reality with ammonia is you make that grab only if you can withstand being in the atmosphere. If the concentrations are too high and you're burning in bunker gear, they're already dead. Don't even bother. So I'd be interested to know what their thoughts were.
I don't know if they had the I think a lot of these situations, these departments that, and again, no offense to the department that this is, they probably were not prepared with this. They weren't prepared with the thought of there are going to be difficult decisions to be made, and we're going to have to make them, and we're going to have to, like you said, go, no go.
Right.
And in departments such as ours, at least conversation came up and said somebody's going to make a hard decision, and people are going to be like, okay, because hard decisions have to be made.
Yeah.
So what are we looking at now? We've got yellows, we've got oranges, we've got greens.
Where's that email? Hold on a second. I had it written up, and it was told you exactly what it was about. Each color was a thing.
There we go.
Here it is. I got it.
And what was the model that they're using? Who performed this?
Oh, it's model 274.
Okay.
No, I have no idea. I'm joking. I have no idea. Where is that stuff?
I think it was used through series.
It's a series. This is a series model. It did give colors and the levels. Here we go. Orange goes out 4.29 miles, which is over 160 parts per million, which is an AGL 2 for 60 minutes.
Okay.
Your red zone, which I don't even see a red zone in there. I just see an orange zone, is over 1,100 parts per million, which is the AGL 3 for 60 minutes. That's 2.1 miles. So it might be that, you know what it is? I think the color is a little off. Or maybe it's just me. Oh, there it is.
I see 3 colors.
Yeah. Okay. So then you have your red, which is 2.1 miles. That is a 1,100 parts per million or greater. Orange is 4.29 at over 160, and yellow is 30 parts per million or greater. That's 6.21 miles. So you're talking about everybody in the yellow zone is at least smelling it.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
Especially on a humid day like that, that's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And it says that the tank diameter is 8 feet, the tank length is 25 feet, the volume is 9405. It was 80% full. The opening was 6 inches by 2 feet.
Wow. That's a big old tear.
That
is a big tear. I'm guessing it was probably partially in liquid and then went down to vapor space. You had an initial bubble out.
Once it went below, it was doing it in the tank and then vapor only coming out.
Because a 6x2 gash at the bottom, that whole tank would empty out pretty quick.
It would be out in no time at all.
Right, and under pressure.
We had an incident where we had a ton container that was delivered to a scrapyard, and they had a little argument between the two guys that were using the track hose or whatever. And one guy says, "I bet you can't put a hole in that thing." And the guy goes, "Oh, I bet you I can." And he put a hole in it about the size of a piece of paper. And then this green cloud comes out. How long do you think, if that tank was a third full, how long do you think it would take for that tank to completely empty its contents according to the science of it?
A long time.
This is August in Phoenix. How long do you think it would take for that contents?
How much product is left? Where was the hole?
About a third of a ton container.
About a third of a ton container. Well, I mean, geez, you pretty rapidly will chill that down to its vapor pressure. I don't know, 2 days?
I'm going to say
most people consider
6 hours.
What's that?
6 hours.
Well, it took 29 hours, but see, we kept thinking because it has such a high vapor pressure, but my point was it became a solid block of frozen chlorine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll auto refrigerate. It'll auto refrigerate and just basically put itself to sleep.
Yeah, it did, which kind of surprised us. We thought that it would escape in an hour or so.
No. In fact, you almost get to the point that it will evaporate. So when something finally reaches its own boiling point temperature, you pretty much you can figure it's going to go about as fast as a pot of boiling water. So if you put a pot of boiling water on the stove and you turned it on, how long would it take for all of that water to boil off? Just take that idea and put it over, a third of a chlorine cylinder, a 1-ton cylinder. So it gets amazingly cold, and it really does slow down, which is where some people really get into trouble, especially in propane tank season, because you have the same physics apply to propane as you would chlorine. They arrive on scene, and it has now stopped leaking because the vapor pressure has gone to almost nothing. Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, it's good, it's self-corrected," and then they leave it there, and it warms back up, and the propane starts coming back out again, and then it finds a source of ignition and goes boom. So it is a legit thing that always has to be in the back of a technician's mind is auto refrigeration.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
I'm curious. I haven't used the Sarah's plume modeling before, but I'm kind of curious of the yellow lines that kind of flare out from the sides. Is that like safety zones, like areas of refuge, or just ancillary evacuation consideration zones or something like that?
It looks like it would be if the wind shifted, right? Because it looks like that shape is the same shape but turned 45 degrees.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Wind confidence is what they're saying. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Huh.
I mean, it kind of is sexy.
It is. Weird. I will concur with that. That's
very sexy plume model. I like this program.
You turn it sideways, it looks like a girl in a bikini.
Yeah, I see that. Oh
So
yeah,
it's-
now I see it.
So it says that
Settle down, Mike.
that rail car, that tanker was leaking 32,000 pounds per minute.
32,000 pounds per that. Something's not right.
So, all right. So here's what it says: averaged over a minute or more, it would do 32,470 pounds per minute. Total amount released 33,280 pounds. So it basically dropped all of it. It released everything. I'm trying to get all the numbers.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I say this right, because it says that the tank volume was 9,400 gallons. So how did it release 33,000? I guess that's based upon the max at that leak rate.
Yeah,
Yeah, 4,000 gallons was released of the 7,500.
The release duration was 3 minutes. So it was a fast mover.
well, it must have moved fast and then auto refrigerated pretty quick once it hit that vapor. Once the gas went into the vapor space, you pretty much quickly auto refrigerate and go from there.
I don't think it had a chance to auto refrigerate. I don't think anything can auto refrigerate in 3
Oh, you
minutes.
think it all came out at once? I thought they said
I think
it
it
only
just-
released half.
Oof, it just popped out. I mean, I'm going to say, again, even if that thing was at that level, with boiling at as violent as that would be, I bet you would just jump out of the tank. Like violent wise. I don't know. I'm totally guessing on this. I'm just reading the data here. It seems like it was over before it started, basically.
Well, what's interesting is this. It talks about the crews worked overnight to patch part of the rupture, which slowed the leak down, but not stop it. So it sounds like it didn't dump the whole contents. It only dumped part of it, like some of the other news reports were showing, and they went in and did a temporary patch to slow the leak, but weren't able to completely mitigate it right off the bat.
Almost impossible with the pressure that ammonia will put out.
Yeah, that's. And luckily, it didn't go on fire, because that's definitely a realistic possibility.
Somewhere in there, it's probably in its flammable range somewhere.
Yeah, and it says LEO's at 150,000 parts per million.
Mm-hmm.
IDOH is at 300, so it's much more toxic and flammable. But
Yeah.
I mean, geez, it would probably have been better if it went into if it found a source of ignition. From a
lit off.
A span of control point of view, like you're burning off all your vapors. It's coming out, but it's burning off, and at least the product's gone. You got nothing to worry about.
You can say when it goes on fire, it's visible.
Yeah,
you can visually see the plume now and deal with it. When it's just a vapor plume, you're dealing with meters and people and smells and whiffs and winds and all these different things. It's like, I'm going to say for the vast majority of incident commanders, it's going to be beyond their scope.
Yeah. I mean, that's still kind of rural area right there, but as far out as that the toxicity was going.
Yeah.
And towards that town. And if anybody's watching this that was there or knows somebody that was there, have them chime in or get with Bob at the Hazmat Guys, get with Bobby and Mike and send us some on-scene intel.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Come on, we'll change your voice.
Was there a picture of the actual truck? I think I saw one.
There was a picture. There was a couple pictures that were put up that were of a different incident. So they were taken back down. Yeah.
Because I thought I saw.
That's my understanding.
It looked like it had scrape marks on the top. like it possibly rolled over, but maybe it was a different picture.
Yeah, I don't know which one you were looking at, but there was one that was put up that came back down, I think, a day or two later because it was a wrong picture.
Okay.
So,
I think that was
but
good.
you know that just goes to prove a point, though. Real quickly before we wrap up, it doesn't matter small agency, large agency. Talk about these different things around the kitchen table.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you're just ops level people, what the hell are you going to do? What's plan A, B, and C? Don't
especially,
just,
if you're an ops level guy.
Yeah.
We say it all the time. We're not the ones making a rescue.
That's right.
Technicians are just stopping a leak. It's the operations guys that are really putting themselves, in a serious pickle if you don't understand, a little bit of what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, and then I think one of the main thing is you need to identify the tanker right off the bat, which, a lot of times ops guys are, they just see a tanker, and what if it, I mean, it was probably placarded in its normal state, which is non-flammable gas.
Right.
So that's a little confusing for them right off the bat.
Right. Based upon the picture in front of us, what are you even going to be pulling up to see? Like, if they're coming from the top of the picture, you're not seeing anything, right? There's no placard from the front from that. If you're coming from the back, maybe you might see a placard from the back. You're probably smelling it long before you're arriving on scene.
Well, and the other thing too is those vehicles that close, I'm guessing, were later on in the incident, because if they were having such toxicity levels so far away, those guys weren't getting anywhere close to that rig.
You okay over there, Bob?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
It's all right. No, your eyes just seem like they weren't moving. Like you were seizing.
It's my eye. It's the glasses.
Oh, it's the glasses. I was gonna say they look kind of bigger today. Like just through the glasses, your eyes look
googly
huge.
Eyes. I've had googly eyes on the whole show. So, well, that wraps up another monthly roundtable show. Thank you for everybody for coming out. Bob Kosh of 101 Consultants, Jay-Z of
nothing.
Jay-Z's retired life.
Jay-Z.
He hasn't left the seat since last month.
No, I haven't. No.
And me and Mike just hanging out in the Hazmat guys. Check us out, and I think that's it.